Those of you who don't know me, my name is Sam Dancy, and I lead our digital accessibility practice at TTC Global. Um, First of all, though, I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners on the land on which we all meet today, the various lands on which we all meet today, and pay my respects to elders past and present. Please feel free to put into the chat the lands on which you are on today. So I'm on Gadigal land of the Eora Nation, but please feel free to add that into the chat as well. So just a little bit about us. So for those of you who are not familiar with TTC Global, we are an IT consulting firm. TTC stands for the Testing Consultancy. We do support organisations with, large transformational programs of work, specifically in that testing function of an IT project. Whilst we have a variety of ways in which we do support organisations, we do have a dedicated digital accessibility practice, as mentioned, of which I lead. And if we could go to the next slide, I will just share a little bit more about our practice. So we have a team of experts, digital accessibility professionals who we support our clients, whether that's public sector, private sector, not-for-profits. We support our clients on their digital accessibility journeys. So we meet them where they're at. We understand that not everyone has the knowledge yet or the skills or maybe the time or the resources in order to manage accessibility themselves. So we can manage that on your behalf through things such as audits and monitoring, etc. But also what we love to do is to support teams to embed different ways of working and better ways of working and embed accessibility into their software development life cycles or into their project management practices or whatever team you're in, whether you are a designer, a developer, a tester, marketing and comms. We like to support teams to think about accessibility and what are the resources, the tools, the knowledge, the skills, what is it that you need in order to embed this as a way of working? So we kind of have those two different, I guess, focus areas. And then some of the things we work on is thinking about accessibility from that strategic perspective and road mapping. We coach teams. So, some digital accessibility practices within an organization, they still want to learn, they still want to grow and maybe fill some of the gaps in their own knowledge. So we coach teams and support with a variety of training and upskilling as well. So we work in a variety of ways and we generally tailor that to our clients. And then in relation to this week, so obviously International Day of People with Disability is on the 3rd of December. So that is this week. My call to action for you is obviously we're a couple of days ahead. We're celebrating in advance at TTC. We wanted to bring some awareness and some information more broadly to the community. So my call to action for you for today is going to be from this session, what will you take back to your team? So what are you going to share? How are you going to generate conversation on International Day of People with Disability, which is the 3rd of December this week? So you've got a bit of a heads up. What will you share from this session or otherwise with your team, just to raise awareness within your own organisation or within your own team? It's a great way to start conversations. The theme this year, it does change each year, but the theme for International Day this year is in relation to fostering disability inclusive societies for advancing social progress. So this absolutely does include digital accessibility. If we're trying to create better, more accessible, more inclusive, usable environments for people with lived experience of disability, that absolutely encapsulates the digital world as well. So today we wanted to share some introductory information that may support you to better understand accessibility in the digital world. And, it's vitally important that people with disability can participate in any online or virtual activity so that they can fully participate in society. So the theme this year is fostering disability inclusive societies for advancing social progress. And we absolutely believe that digital accessibility is part of that. International Day is an official United Nations date. So I'm not sure most of you may be aware of that, but it is an official date through the United Nations. And it's really important to raise awareness, to learn from people with lived experience of disability at this time, and to promote, the equitable inclusion of people with disability. So I've mentioned my call to action. I've mentioned that it would be great for you to have a conversation on the 3rd of December yourselves. and that this is a celebration. So this is, to celebrate and to respect our peers, our colleagues, our friends, family, people in the community who have disability. But without further ado, I would like to introduce you to my colleague Ben. So Ben will facilitate the session today. So Ben Crompton is a senior accessibility consultant at TTC Global. He's worked with us for quite a few years now, for maybe about 4 years, and he's been supporting our clients on their digital accessibility journey across that time. So Ben will facilitate the session today. So Ben, I'll hand over to you.
Thank you so much, Sam, and welcome everybody to today's webinar. And wonderful to be here with you on the first day, I guess, of the week of International Day of People with Disabilities. So wonderful to have you all here Monday morning, and to acknowledge the day and I guess all of the ways in which we can acknowledge and celebrate the diversity and inclusion of people with disability in our society. So today we're going to be looking at screen readers. But before we do, I did just want to get a sense from everyone here as to uh, what your role is currently in your job if you're coming to us from an organization. I've just launched a poll on the screen just asking what your current role is. So I'll give us about 10 seconds to 15 seconds or so. It's always wonderful and we always find we have a great mix of people all the way from accessibility, people in accessibility, but also designing, developing, programming, and leadership as well. So I'll leave that open for a little bit longer, but just talk a little bit more about what we'll be covering today. We will take a quick look at what screen readers are and who uses them. And then we're going to go through a few examples and we're going to see some real life examples of screen readers in action from some of our partners that we partner with. And we'll see examples of when accessibility has been done well, and we'll see some examples of when it's done poorly. We'll then take a look through and take a look at what happens when your product or app or website is not accessible for screen readers. And then we will do a little bit of a dive of how you could yourself use a screen reader with some tips. So if we just take a look at our poll, looks like again, we've got a range of people from a range of different backgrounds, developers and programmers. I can see in the chat, we've also got some people putting in some other areas as well. So great to have a wonderful mix of people here today. So I wanted to also get a sense from everybody as to what your experience is with screen readers and whether or not you have used them before. So I'm just going to launch another quick poll asking how familiar you are with screen readers, all the way from I've heard the term but don't really know how they work, know a little, seen a demo before, tried one briefly, use it frequently for testing, or if you use it yourself to navigate the web. So can see some everyone going in. So it sounds like we've got a few people that use it to navigate the web and use it frequently for testing. So that's really great. But it looks like the majority of people are in that second category of knowing a little but haven't used one. So that is fantastic. I'll just end that poll and just let everyone see. So I've got about 37% of people who know a little bit but haven't used one. We've got 21% of people that have tried one briefly, 17% who've heard the term but don't know how it works, and the rest of those people use it either frequently or use it to navigate the web. So thank you for sharing. I hope, regardless of what level of experience you are at with screen readers, that you get a good sense of how they work and learn a few new things today. So just to quickly contextualize, I guess, the world in the context of International Day of People with Disability, an estimated 1.3 billion people, which is about 16% of the entire world globally, have disability. And in Australia, that's 1 in 5 people. So it's quite large, and I'm sure I don't need to uh, tell everyone here on this in this call in terms of there's a range of disability types, both visible and invisible disability as well. And of those 1.3 billion, over 250 million people worldwide live with some form of vision impairment. Um, and that's relevant because many people who have vision impairments use a screen reader. And what is a screen reader, I guess, is question number one. So a screen reader is designed to assist people, generally who are blind or have low vision, to navigate digital content. But it is important to know that many people um, use a screen reader. It's not just people who are blind or have vision impairment. It's used by many people. And so the screen reader itself is software that converts the content that is on the screen into speech or into Braille, depending upon the output that the person wishes to have. It does not read the screen in a visual sense. It doesn't visually read the screen. Instead, it reads the underlying code that is behind the visuals. So that means headings, labels, text alternatives, all the semantic code that is putting together the website to visually render it. It's reading the code. So it's not reading just the visual and making sense of that. So that's why coding and semantic structure really matters. A screen reader can only work with what we give it in terms of code. And screen readers are not just for websites. So, I mean, obviously, predominantly, that is how they are used to navigate the web, but also across a range of digital experiences. So think of things like emails, PDFs, just operating around an operating system. There is a range of other non-web related resources that screen readers are essential and vital for. So, as we said, a range of people use screen readers. One large group are those who are blind or visually impaired. They use the screen reader to able to interpret that information that we see on the screen. But many people with cognitive disabilities may also rely on text to speech to support comprehension. And also people with temporary disability or temporary impairment. So, for example, someone who may have an eye injury, who may not be able to see for a period of time, may use a screen reader for short periods to allow them to navigate the web and applications throughout that period. And why, I guess, doesn't matter, which is obviously a very important question. So, millions of people use screen readers worldwide, and across a range of devices. So obviously, the first screen reader was built to um, operate with a desktop computer or similar device, but we now have screen readers inbuilt into many desktop devices, but also mobile devices. So both Apple and Android have inbuilt screen readers within the software it comes with. So it comes pre-built with a screen reader. So I guess the easiest thing to think about is if it has a screen, it needs to work with a screen reader. So the screen reader is essential to ensuring that the information can be communicated to people in a range of ways to make sure that people can navigate and understand the information and also move around and access the actions required within applications and websites. So when accessibility fails and things aren't created for screen readers to be able to interpret them, people can't do those things. They can't navigate, they can't complete tasks, they can't participate equally in society. And very often we have, and we'll see certainly a few examples in a moment, but we have situations where screen reader users are either blocked completely from being able to complete an action, or they have to guess. And through a lot of trial and error, they may be able to complete the action, but it takes quite a long time. Now, you may have heard of some of the popular screen readers. So there's two main on desktop and two main ones in the mobile world. So on the desktop, we have JAWS, which is a Windows-based screen reader that's widely used, mostly in a lot of workplaces. So uh, it's definitely one of the largest screen readers. There's also NVDA, which again is a Windows-based screen reader. This one, though, is free and open source, so you can actually download that and use it for free. NVDA has become much more popular as time has gone on. And they're the two main ones. There is one built into Microsoft Office called Narrator, but usually people will generally have JAWS or NVDA. On the mobile side of things, we have, and also for Mac devices, VoiceOver. So VoiceOver is the Apple screen reader that's used in desktop, but also used on the mobile. So mobile VoiceOver for Apple devices. And then over on Android, we have TalkBack. So they're the main screen readers that we see people use. Um, and each screen reader reads the same content, but there may be slight differences depending upon the platform as well as the browser or the app framework. So that's why it's really important if we're testing for accessibility that we test across devices and we see how different screen readers interpret the information. So, for example, a form that may work well on a desktop device may have a different experience on mobile. So we really need to understand the practical ins and outs of how the content that we're creating renders both on desktop and mobile, and especially from the perspective of these different screen readers. The other thing that's important to note is outside of the realm of screen readers, we're seeing a lot more text-to-speech software. We're seeing lots of people use a range of different mobile apps. We're seeing a lot more speech interfaces like Siri and Google Assistant. And a lot of these applications use the same principles as screen readers, and many of them use the same underlying code to read and render that information. So as people, I guess, as technology changes and as the way in which people who access these types of software changes, we're seeing a lot more, I guess, kind of variety. But again, the accessibility principles that underlie that is going to be the same. So these other types of other types of applications, as I said, may not provide the full functionality of a screen reader, but will often use those same principles, making, I guess, yeah, as I said, the accessibility principles essential for those as well. Um, in terms of testing, which I will mention, because a few of you mentioned that you did have used it for testing, and others out there who may be in a similar boat. NVDA is a great option. It's free and widely used and recommended. And then over on mobile, as I said, VoiceOver is included within the within the operating system, as is TalkBack within the Android operating system as well. So we're going to dive in and take a look at some examples. So the first two examples that we will see are examples of good accessibility. So this is a clip from one of our partners that we work with, Joe. And in this clip, you'll hear how the headings and buttons and forms are announced. And you'll be able to notice how Joe is able to scan through the content and skim information to try and find the most important information on the page. So you'll hear two voices on here. You'll hear Joe's voice, and then you will hear the screen reader voice as well. So I'm going to play this, and hopefully the sound will come
I am
through.
on the Amazon.com website right now, and typically the first thing that I would do when I navigate on any website is use heading navigation. So navigate by the headings that are on the page, So I would do that by just hitting the letter H on my keyboard, and it just takes me through the headings that are on the page. So I'm going to hit H now.
0 to today, heading level 2. Link S, heading level 2, 0 to today. Link S. Link shop deals with Prime, try before you buy. Link S. Link sweaters. Gifts for your Valentine, heading level 2.
So gifts for my Valentine.
Link sweaters. Link bags. Blank. Winter fashion finds, heading level 2.
So it's reading me, kind of, so the headings give you an idea of what content you should expect under that heading. So,
blank, heading level 2, winter fashion finds.
So winter fashion finds. So the content that's under this heading should reflect that heading.
Link all fashion. Link women. Blank. Link men. Link kids. Blank. Valentine's Day gift cards, heading level 3. Link shop the selection. Top deal, heading level 2. Link graphic True Remedy Premium Organic Body Wash and Balm. Link up to 59% off top deal.
So again, top deals, it tells you what the product is. The content under it gives me what the product is. It mentions that it's a top deal and how much off the product it is.
The warm dash weather edit, heading level 2. Viral Hall of Fame, heading level 2. Shop deals and try for free, heading level 2. Link sweaters under $40. Shop deals and try for free, heading level. Link sweaters under $40.
So, and I'm also listening to the links, and the links are very clear in conveying the information of where these links are going to navigate me to. So if I continue to down arrow.
Link tops under $30. Blank. Link jeans under $50. Link shoes under $75.
Right. So each one of those, shoes under $75. So when I enter on that link, I'm expecting to go to a page that brings me to shoes under $75.
So that was an example of good accessibility of a website that, as I said, Joe, who is blind and a native screen reader user himself. He also works for Helen Keller Foundation over in America and trains people with on how to use assistive technology and help set them up. So he has a lot of experience in using screen readers himself and across different devices, across Windows, mobile, and Mac, and teaches people. So that example there, I think we could see fairly clearly. We could hear fairly clearly the navigation around that website, where he was, and the links and the different types of navigation that Joe was using to explore the website. So we're going to take another look now at a different website. This one is about a 60-second clip using NVDA, and you will only hear the screen reader's voice on this one, and you will hear it announce navigation links, headings, and form labels. The other thing I did forget to mention is visually on the screen, you will generally see a red or blue outline, which shows visually where the screen reader is at. So that will also appear in some of these examples, as I did with Joe's example. And I'm fairly sure you'll see a similar one in this clip here. So we will play this one.
Welcome to City Cafe document. Link home, link menu, link order online, link contact us, home link. Menu link. Order online link. Contact us link. Main landmark heading level 2 are weekly specials. Iced latte, $4. Order now button. Blueberry muffins, $3. Order now button. Heading level 2 contact us. Name, edit blank. Email, edit blank. Submit button.
All right. So that example there, you could see visually the website and the content, and then we could hear the screen reader using again, the underlying code to announce to the user what each element was that it was navigating to and selected. So we could hear, and again, with Joe's example, the screen reader will announce to the user what the type of content is. Is it a link? Is it an image? Is it a heading? And we'll provide that information, and then we'll also provide the content. So we heard it announce the links in the top of the menu. So we heard it say link home. So we knew that we were on the link for the home page, and same with menu order online. We heard it provide the label visually for these buttons, as well as these form fields. So all of this is done deliberately to make sure that what we see visually is rendered to somebody who uses a screen reader. We're going to see some examples of bad accessibility, where whilst we have a lot of information on there that visually can be understood, without that underlying semantic code and markup, it means nothing to a screen reader, and we'll see here that it can be an incredibly frustrating experience. So this is an example of what good accessibility looks like, where not only we have a website that makes sense visually, but we also have a website that for a screen reader user and other assistive technologies are able to understand that information, not only the content, but also any of the pieces of information, like what the content is. And it's also reading through in a sequential way as well. It's going from top and bottom, left to right. So somebody who uses a screen reader is able to navigate, understand, interact with this website just like anybody else who may use the visual cues instead. I see we've got some questions, so I think Bo's answered one of those. Fantastic. And we will have time for Q&A at the end as well, so we'll come back to those if they don't get answered. So before we hop into the world of not so great accessibility, I wanted to ask everybody any issues that you notice on websites. So do you notice these day to day? Which issues of these listed do you notice? So links that don't describe where they go to, buttons that sound the same, images with no context, forms that are confusing, lack of headings on pages, or have you not noticed the issues? Interesting. So I see we've got a lot coming through. So a very clued in crowd that we've got here today. So you're all very perceptive. Um, I was expecting that a lot of people wouldn't necessarily have noticed these issues, but I think obviously I'm talking to the wrong people. So fantastic to see that a lot of people are noticing buttons that are all the same. So learn more buttons. We see a lot of those images with no context. Links that don't describe where they go, forms that are confusing, lack of headings on a page, and then a few people have said that they don't notice the issues. Brilliant. So thank you for that, everyone. So we're now going to dive into looking at the two examples that are quite poor accessibility examples. So the first one we've got is from another partner of ours, Tanner, that's based in the US as well. He's also a blind screen reader user, and he uses in this clip, and I think predominantly a Mac device, so that's VoiceOver. So in this clip, Tanner is trying to navigate the website to find a link or a way to open a credit union account. The website is a credit union, and the accessibility. Well, let me not preempt. I'll let you decide what you think of the accessibility, and I'll play that clip for you now. Whoop.
And I'm here at Arizona Central Credit Union.
Arizona Central Credit Union.
I'm at the home page and I'm going to attempt to open an account. So at the top of the home page here, and I'm going to use some keyboard commands or keyboard strokes to try to navigate around, orient myself to the page. And when I figure out where I'm trying to go, then I'm going to do that. So here we go.
Make that renovation happen with our new unsecured home improvement loan. Heading level 1.
So I just navigated by heading there. This is weird that the first heading, the heading level 1 is this. This is not where I want to be.
Say yes to adventure with a new outdoor toy. Heading level 1.
Okay, so there's another heading level 1. This is letting me know that the structure of this website as it relates to accessibility is not organized in any kind of way that creates equity or inclusion. So I'm going to stop navigating by heading. I'm going to start navigating by region. I'm going to come back up to the top of the page.
Arizona Central Credit Union. Link close. Banner.
So that was not a region.
Navigation region.
Here we go.
Navigation region. Main region.
All right, now I'm in the main region.
Unsecured home improvement loan graphic. Blank. Heading level 1. Make that renovation happen with our new unsecured home improvement loan.
Okay, so I'm back to this. I guess that is the first thing we're talking about in the main region. So maybe the regions don't have appropriate accessibility baked in. I just wanted to open an account. So now I'm going to search for an account. I'm just disoriented and confused with the kind of navigation and the structure here. So I'm just going to search for what I'm looking for.
Virtual find. Alt plus W. JAWS find dialog. A. C. C. O. U. and E. Enter. Visited link. Open an account.
Okay, here we go. Open an account. So I'm going to click here.
Enter. Content info region. Footer navigation region. Open an account link. Join us today. Arizona Central Credit Union. Page has 7 regions, 4 headings, and 33 links. Link Arizona.
All right, so that was just kind of telling me about the page right now. So I'm going to skip down to the first heading.
Join us today. Heading level 1.
All right, that's where I want to be.
Blank. Banking with Arizona Central Credit Union pays. How does an extra $200 sound?
So I'm just down arrowing here, going through this information. I'm looking for a sign up.
Blank. Join now.
Okay, join now.
Blank.
That's just text.
Article. List of 3 items. Link home / visited link join / join us today. List end. Blank. Tired of paying I blank list at join us today. Visited link join / link home / visited link join / join us today.
Join us. This seems like kind of the structure of where I'm at.
List end.
That I'm three pages deep here from the home page.
So, hoping you noticed a difference between between the good accessibility example and that example. I'd just like to ask everybody what they felt watching this. I know for me, I always feel a particular way when I watch this video, and I've seen it many times. So I've just launched a poll there, and I can see confusing, frustrating, hard to follow. No one's saying it's better than they expected, so that's good. Yeah, I always find it incredibly frustrating to watch, and it's a very, I think, good example of, especially in contrast to those good examples that we saw earlier, of how websites can become incredibly difficult to navigate. And in this case, I would say it's probably impossible for it to be navigated and used by Tanner there. So we'll take another look at our cafe website that we saw earlier. And this time,
and I'm here at Arizona Central Credit Union.
Arizona Central.
So we're going to take a look at our City Cafe website from earlier, but this time there'll be a few accessibility issues that weren't present in the first one. So as we go through and listen to the screen reader reading out this website, I'd like you to have a think of what are some of the issues that you noticed, and maybe put them in the chat as we go, or we'll come back after it and have a bit of a discussion about what were some of the issues that we see here that makes it very difficult for a screen reader user to navigate around.
Welcome to City Cafe. No next heading. Main landmark order now button. Iced latte, $4. Unlabeled graphic to get missing image descriptions, open the context menu. Order now button. Order now button. No next heading. Edit blank. Edit blank. Submit button.
Okay, so that was a very different experience, I think, to the first option that we played previously. So I'm just going to launch this poll here. So now we've seen that demonstration there. Can anyone see in that example there what accessibility issues could you identify? So we had the user trying to navigate in a number of ways. So they were trying to navigate sequentially, so by using either the arrows or the tab keys. And I think we're having a particular experience. And then we noticed the screen reader say, I think once or twice, no headings found. It's because the user was trying to navigate by a heading. So we saw in the first example, Joe, who was pressing H and he was navigating to the next heading that was in the sequence. So we were able to see that the website could be navigated by heading or by link. He was doing a variety of those. But in this example here, we saw it say no headings found, which meant that there were no headings on the page, even though visually we can obviously see that there are a number of headings, which underlies that main point that we said earlier, which was the screen reader understands and reads the code. So if in the code they're not marked up as headings, then a screen reader user will not be aware that they are meant to be headings. So I might just end the poll here and we'll take a look. And if you've gotten any additional answers as well, you can pop those in the chat. But I can see here we've got a few people that talked about headings. So a number of you said that headings were an issue, about 10. We then had alt text. So absolutely, we had an alt text that was missing from either of those images. There was the form fields were not linked with their labels. So we just heard, and you may have heard the sound, the ding change, and that's an indication that the screen reader has gone into form mode. So it identifies that it is a form field. And so the user would be able to hear that it is a form field, but no idea exactly what the form field is for. So a few of you correctly mentioned the labels there. So the labels were not connected. So yes, I think there's some excellent feedback there, and I think you've probably got all of them. I'm just looking at the list here. So headings not marked as headings, no descriptions. Yeah, headings aren't labeled. Absolutely. And it's interesting, someone said long silences, and I think that's because as opposed to being able to just navigate through, the user was stopped at a few times and tried, say, for example, navigating via headings. So it did not flow in the same way that some of the other examples did. people identifying the alt text, no alt text for images as well. So wonderful. I think you've probably got all of the issues that were there, at least the main ones in that example. So I'll just go back to our slides. Wonderful. So obviously there we saw examples of when it fails, and it's one thing to see it on a screen, but obviously it's another thing to be the user trying to navigate that content. So when digital content isn't accessible, people who rely on screen readers and other types of assistive technology that rely on that underlying code can become stuck. Not only slowed down, as someone mentioned about that example, but completely blocked. So this may practically mean that someone's not able to log in, submit a form. So in that example, the person would just have to guess. They could do some navigation back around to try and find a label, and then they'd have to guess that, well, then maybe that label connects with this text box. So again, there's not the information there available for somebody to understand it off the bat. So these, I guess, some other examples that we've got here on the screen here. So a pop-up appears and traps focus. So sometimes there are examples of keyboard traps where a pop-up is available and is activated, but they can't get out of that pop-up. So they're stuck in there. So potentially have to restart the whole thing. We saw in the examples, both examples there, buttons that are unlabeled. So in that case, you hear a sequence of button, 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 with no idea as to what those labels are. Excuse me. Forms not, sorry, one second. Forms not announcing correctly or not announcing required fields. So users either submit a form with either incorrect or incomplete data, and they then have to go back through and do it a second or a third time. The navigation, so trying to navigate around a page. So where it lacks headings, and we saw in that example where there were no headings. So to understand that content, a user would have to manually go through each item on the page and not be able to skip. On a small page like that, I guess it's less of an issue, but think of a long page with a lot of text content and a complex, something like that Amazon page. We know how big that Amazon page is on the home page. Someone trying to navigate through by headings, and if there were none, they'd have to navigate that entire content to work out what's on the page. And then we've got images without alt text. So there we've got images that has essential information that someone needs to know to navigate the website. However, that's hidden from the user. So the screen reader user is unable to understand the purpose of the image or potentially the information that's essential that's inside of that image as well. So there's some real examples that we certainly see in testing quite a lot of where issues arise, and also the real world impact that this has on people with disability who use these technologies. So I said at the beginning, we'd go through a little bit of kind of takeaway on how to use a screen reader. If we had more time, we could do it all together, but we don't. But I guess the key point is that you don't need to be an expert to start testing, and you can start with some basic navigation on either desktop, something like NVDA, or on your mobile device. As I said, screen readers are built into the mobile devices of Apple and Android. So the first step is just to learn the basic gestures and how to operate the screen reader. On a mobile device, you can often quite easily use the voice assistant to turn on a screen reader. So on a Apple device, you could start Siri and say turn on VoiceOver. On Android, turn on TalkBack, and then swiping left and right, generally taking you forwards and backwards, and then double click to submit or interact with an element. And to turn it off again, you can use the voice assistant to do that as well. We'll share with you some guides later on if you wanted some more in-depth guidance on how to operate both of those mobile screen readers as well as NVDA. So once you've got some understanding of the basic gestures, then the second step is to navigate the website or app with that screen reader. So what we're looking for is to make sure that the information that's visually available is announced to a screen reader user in a way that makes sense and in a way that is providing information about the type of content. So listen for headings, for landmarks, for link names, for buttons and labels. So all of those are features, accessibility features that are provided for assistive technology users. So listen that a heading is marked up, that a landmark has been created, that there are link names and they make sense, that your buttons have labels, that the forms have labels. And maybe think about testing a few common user journeys. So maybe a login form, completing a form, navigating through a menu or submitting a request, something like that. And then the third step, detecting those structure and labeling issues. So as you go through and hear how your website or app is being announced to a screen reader user, try and identify any problems or issues that you notice with some of these potentially labeling or descriptive issues. And then when you're reporting that issue, so reporting the accessibility barrier clearly, describe what the screen reader says and what you expected to see instead and why that impacts the user. So at a high level, they're kind of 4 steps, but certainly the first few will allow you to try a screen reader yourself and maybe run it over an application or a website that you have. So as we kind of come to the end of our presentation today, a few key takeaways. If you don't take away anything else, take away these 4 points here. So one of our mantras is that what is essential for one is good for all. So accessibility is usability for everyone. It's not just an add-on. Accessibility improves the experience for every single person, but provides essential and necessary ways for people with disability and people who use screen readers to access the information. Screen readers interpret the code, not the visuals. So structure is essential and so important. So as we saw that the example of the visual of our images, if they don't have text alternative that's in the back, then it will not be provided to the screen reader user. Same with headings. If there is visually a heading there that's performing the function of a heading, but it's not marked up as a heading in the back end, then a screen reader user will not be able to, will not get that information. So structure is essential. The semantic code is essential. Even small fixes can make a big impact. So it can be as simple as marking up a heading to the correct level, adding a label, adding an appropriate text alternative for meaningful images or meaningful non-text content. So even these small fixes can make a really big impact for people that use assistive technology and screen readers. And finally, the 4th point, testing with a screen reader can help you to better understand your product at all stages of the development lifecycle. And they can really assist in providing you with a different perspective and help you to catch issues early as well. So we're nearly at time. We've got kind of 7 minutes or so. I'd like to launch one kind of more poll because I think, as Sam said at the beginning, it's helpful to think about your next steps. So if we have a think about what your next steps are, have a look at this list here that will launch the poll in a second. Sorry, I've just lost my little poll button. Not here they are. Yeah, so have a think about everything we've talked about today And what is something, and you can choose multiple things if there are multiple things that you want to take away with you, but what's at least one thing that you can take away and implement? So maybe you're a content or web creator and you can do things like use headings, alt text when editing documents as well, or websites or emails. Try a screen reader on a mobile or desktop. As Sam talked about earlier, talking to the team about accessibility and raising awareness is a crucial part of this discussion. Maybe it's about training, realizing that actually we'd love to get some more training, maybe more specialized training, or have a look at getting a formal audit done for your website and app. So getting some assistance in making sure the issues are identified and then some guidance with remediating those. So I'll give everyone another few minutes to fill in that poll. But I would just like to underscore here, screen readers are a very common type of assistive technology. And as I said, a lot of the applications and voice to text services that are being provided also definitely rely on a lot of this. But there is a range of different assistive technologies that rely on the same underlying code to understand and interpret information. So when you design a website to ensure it's accessible for a screen reader, you're also designing it to make sure that it's accessible for people who use a whole host of other different pieces of assistive technology. So that's why it is so important when we're designing, developing, editing, updating our software and our applications and websites that we factor screen reader users into the equation. So just sharing those results, fantastic to see so many of you have some takeaways. So a lot of you in here may be content editors or just using content day to day. So incorporating some of those things into your workflow. Trying a screen reader on mobile, back out to us and let us know how you go. It's definitely a bit of a learning curve, but yeah, I'd love to hear from LinkedIn on LinkedIn or some other way how you go if you do try that. Talking to team about awareness, about half of you have indicated that, so that's fantastic. And then a large group have talked about investigating future training and looking at an audit for their website, so that's absolutely fantastic. There are some resources that we have made available that will be put in the chat. If you do want to learn a bit more about moving around and accessing content via a screen reader, a guide for NVDA, a guide for Apple's VoiceOver, a guide for Android's TalkBack, and a little guide from the World Wide Web Consortium of easy checks that you can do. I'll just hand back over to Sam now, who will kind of finish off the session today. And I know Bo's been answering some questions, but if there's any questions left over, we can come back to those. So Sam, over to you.
Thanks, Ben. And yeah, absolutely feel free to answer some of those questions. There's one or two. There was a great comment in there as well from Gail earlier on. So feel free to continue in the chat. Thanks for dialing in, everyone. Ben, do you mind? Oh, yeah, just wanted to let you know we do have upcoming training. So if you do have team members that might be interested in the more full version of this training, we do have that coming up towards the beginning of next year. Or if there are others in your team who are at the beginning of their journey, you think Digital Accessibility 101 might be of help, it's just a very short 2-hour session to introduce accessibility to your team. So check it out. There's lots of training coming up next year. Please take this back to your teams. And I just wanted to say thank you very much for dialing in. If we go to the next slide, Ben, we do have our contact details on there. So if there are additional questions, you have reflections after this and you would like to ask more questions, please reach out. We'd love to hear from you. We hope you've enjoyed the session. Happy International Day of People with Disability, and yeah, please take this back to your teams because we've thought there was great engagement. So thank you so much for all of your questions. We've shared the links to the other resources. Bo's still answering questions in the chat. If there are any outstanding, we can just send you a message directly as well because we have your contact details from your registration. So if we do go through the questions and there's anything outstanding, we will share that with you. And hopefully we see you online in the beginning of next year. That would be wonderful too. So yeah, hopefully we get to see you next year, and we will be also running some additional free events across next year as well. So yeah, have a wonderful December and enjoy International Day.